Angelou once said, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget the way you made them feel." And my journey through the Miss Arkansas's Outstanding Teen System has been one that I will remember for a lifetime. When I was 10 years old, I began in the system as a princess for Sarah Lofton, who was Miss Cottonville at the time. And I really had no clue what the Diamond State Princess program entailed or what I was in for when I went to Hot Springs that week. But I fell in love with the system immediately. So then 2 years later, one of my best friends, Carly Riggin, was Miss Greater Jonesboro's Outstanding Teen. And so I was her princess at the age of 12 at the Miss Arkansas's Outstanding Teen competition, where I got a little better taste of the teen program. And I knew that this was something that I wanted to be involved in. But you can't compete until you're 13. So I knew I had a little bit of time to get prepared, to get a talent ready, to get activewear ready, and to get a wardrobe. So the next year, I'm 13, and my mom and I were like, it's time that I can start competing. And so we went to Royal Lee and we picked out a wardrobe. We got on like musictracks.com and picked out some arrangement of Megan Trainor's Dear Future Husband, which was kind of a hot mess. And we went to Miss White River's Outstanding Teen in Batesville, which was my very first preliminary at the age of 13. It was August 6th. So I went and competed, and I guess it was very obvious from rehearsals that, bless my heart, I was not going to be walking away with the crown that night, because my now really dear friend and current director and first pageant director, Denise Holdaway, approached me at rehearsals that day. She came up to my mom and I and she said, "Hey, best of luck tonight, but if things don't go the way you plan or you want them to, I'm the director of the Miss River Delta and Miss Northeast Arkansas Outstanding Teen Pageant in Blytheville, and we'd love to have you. We're hosting our pageant in October this year. We'd love for you to come and join us." So I was like, okay, yay. So, things don't work out tonight, that's the next goal. So needless to say, I did not walk away with the White River crown that night, which was totally okay. I met some wonderful friends, some wonderful people, and definitely got my feet wet. But, so I spent those next 2 months until October preparing for the River Delta and Northeast Arkansas preliminary. So when that day rolled around, I had a volleyball tournament actually. So I spent all day playing volleyball, and then when it got to that night, I had a later interview and I went straight to the pageant. And once again, was kind of a hot mess, had no training, really didn't know what I was doing, but somehow, some way, I walked away with the River Delta title that night. And so then I gained a family and a home in Blytheville, Arkansas that I will always cherish. And so I spent that year serving that community in Northeast Arkansas, and I represented the River Delta at Miss Arkansas's Outstanding Teen the next year. And I did not hear my name called one time that week on stage. So I left a little brokenhearted, but I was definitely still passionate about the system and knew that I wanted to have a future in it. So I knew I had no time to waste. I went into the first preliminary of the next season, Miss Arkansas Valley's Outstanding Teen in Clarksville. And I was so blessed to be able to walk away with that title that July. And I had plenty of time to prepare for the next year's Miss Arkansas's Outstanding Teen competition. So I'm talking, I worked out 24/7, I was at the piano 24/7, interview sessions. That year I lived and breathed preparing and making myself better. But what I remember most about that year is that every day, every night, I would pray and I would say, "Dear Lord, please, if this is something you have in your plan for me, please give me a sign this year." Whether that is winning some small award at this competition, whether it's making top 15, top 10, and please just give me a sign that this is something that I am meant to be doing. So the competition rolls around, and final night I was so nervous. I still had not heard my name called on stage all week long in preliminary nights or anything. And I was so nervous, and I was like, I just don't know if, I'm gonna get my sign. And if I don't, then that's okay. It'll be a little heartbreaking, but that's okay. So that night, they were calling the top 15, and they had just called the 12th person for the top 15. And I was the 13th person called. And I remember that feeling. Before I was called, I was like, oh my gosh, it's not me again. I'm just going to be heartbroken again. But I was the 13th person called in the top 15, and later on made the top 10. So that was my sign, and I knew that that was something that I needed to be doing. So that year, I was even more determined. So I came home after the state competition, and I competed in my hometown pageant, Miss Arkansas Delta's Outstanding Teen. And I captured that title. And that year, I was more determined than ever to do the best I could be at the state pageant, which was last June. So I prepared day in and day out. I had a whole village behind me that was helping me, and I received first runner-up at the pageant that June, which was the biggest honor, and all I could think about was, the girl that I was 2 years ago that didn't even get her name called on this stage would be so proud of the girl that just got first runner-up to Miss Arkansas's Outstanding Teen. So it's kind of like things were coming full circle. So then I went back to Blytheville. I journeyed back to Blytheville this past November and received the title of Miss Northeast Arkansas's Outstanding Teen, which was what I was supposed to be representing in this year's Miss Arkansas's Outstanding Teen pageant. Although now the pageant is pushed back to next year, it has still been the biggest honor serving Northeast Arkansas. Funniest story, my first time competing in the evening gown competition at Miss Arkansas's Outstanding Teen. We were about to go on, it was intermission, and evening gown happens right after, and I bent down to pick up my lipstick and my whole zipper popped. And so I was freaking out. I had to be sewn in my dress and cut out of it after that night. And so that kind of didn't start out the best feeling for the evening gown competition. But needless to say, now getting to talk about my platform with the onstage question and wear a dress that makes me feel like a princess, I've really grown to love evening gown, and I think that it's where you feel most like a pageant girl on stage.
Please welcome our top 10 in evening wear, starting with Miss Arkansas Delta's Outstanding Teen, Phoebe Harris. She is escorted by her father, Kyle Harris. Hey Phoebe, go ahead and choose a question. Okay, your question comes from Allie Beth King, Miss Grand Prairie's Outstanding Teen. I've often heard my parents talk about how great the 90s were. They talk about the music and the clothing. What do you think our generation will be remembered for, and will it be a good way to be remembered?
I would really love the opportunity to set a new pathway for our generation to be remembered as a kind generation, as a giving generation, and as a volunteering generation. I think that this organization really promotes all of those, and I want to be one that empowers other women, empowers our youth, so that they can carry on that legacy and make others feel good about themselves, so that most importantly, kind of tied back into my platform, we can help make others feel good so we can make our state more suicide safe.
Thank you, Phoebe.
Activewear has always been my favorite portion of the competition. I think just growing up as an athlete, it was something that I was usually prepared for because I practiced every day at school, I worked out after school, and so it's always been my favorite portion of the competition where I felt most confident. So the first year when I competed, activewear was actually my last night, but the last 2 years I competed, activewear was on my first night of preliminary competition, and it really just helped me start out the week confident, and I just really have always loved activewear. Talent has always been the portion of competition that I've had to work the hardest for. My first year at Miss Arkansas's Outstanding Teen, I just sang. I sang Let It Be by the Beatles, which is one of my all-time favorite songs and holds a very special place in my heart now. And in the past 2 years that I've competed, I sang and played the piano to True Colors by Cyndi Lauper. And both of these songs just really spoke to me, and I was really able to connect with them, and I really hope that the audience could feel that when I was performing on stage.
I see your true colors, and that's why I love you, so don't be afraid to let them show. True colors are beautiful like a rainbow.
That's Miss Arkansas Delta's Outstanding Teen, Phoebe Harris.
I remember a story that she likes to tell a lot. As we were standing backstage before I went on stage with her for evening gown night, which is where the princesses walk out with their contestant in their evening gown. And of course, I felt like a superstar. And we were standing backstage, and I said, Sarah, I hope that all of these girls know that they're standing next to a future Miss Arkansas. And her, assuming that I was talking about her as she was competing that week, was like, Phoebe, you don't say that in front of the contestants. And I was like, oh no, Sarah, I'm talking about me. I'm the future Miss Arkansas. And so that really lit a fire in my spirit for this system, and is where I originally fell in love. So pageantry has taught me so much. It has taught me, dedication and how to have a good work ethic. It has taught me so much about myself. And it has truly prepared me for the next phase of life. It has prepared me for college. It has prepared me to go into the workforce someday. And I could not be more thankful for the system in itself, the Miss America organization, for trying to shape the lives of young women like me. The board of directors with the Arkansas organization and the national organization, all the volunteers, all the sponsors who make the week of Miss Arkansas's Outstanding Teen possible, and for young ladies like me to experience the week of a lifetime. Most importantly, I want to thank my personal village, all the local directors that have invested in me, my coaches, my family, my friends, who really believed in me and gone along this journey with me. It would have not been possible without every single one of you. In a post I recently shared a few weeks ago, I said that I realized that winning is not the ultimate outcome of this system. I've yet to walk away with the state title, but I'm walking away with the friendships, memories, and the experience like no other, and I'm so thankful. And so it's taken me a long time to realize that, you don't have to have a crown and the sash in the end to be a product of the Miss America organization. And I'm so thankful day in and day out to be a product of the Miss America organization and the Miss Arkansas's Outstanding Teen organization. So 5 minutes from now, you may have forgotten all I've said. 10 minutes from now, you may have forgotten all I've done. But I hope the people that I've met along this journey are never able to forget the way I've made them feel. And I hope and pray that feeling has always been a good one. For one last time, I'm Miss Northeast Arkansas's Outstanding Teen 2020, Phoebe Harris.